Welcome to the Ramon Foster Show, starring the one, the only, 11-year starting guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ramon Foster. You notice how, a lot of people will say 10 years just to kind of round it off and whatever else. I know you hate that, right?
Yeah, I'm like, give me my 11, okay? Like, I just filed like my line of duty. That extra year means something. And not just that. You got to count the 9, okay? It doesn't count at 10. It's 2009, 10, 11, all the way up to 19. You count the 9.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we're right. Yeah, it's 11. Well, you want the 9 in there, so for obvious reasons.
That year counts right there. Like, it's two, like, you know how people go, one, how many did you have? Well, how many years was it? Well, it was 1 year. No. That 2009 actually counts as a year, okay? There we go.
In all of those 11 years that Ramon Foster was gracing the Pittsburgh Steelers with his presence on the field, he knew who his quarterback was. There was never a question about this. Mm-hmm. And his head coach had a comfort level, to say the least, with who his quarterback was. We're in a kind of a different time here. And Moan, yesterday, the way Mike Tomlin handled his questioning of, meaning being questioned, related to Kenny Pickett's status and everything. Good news on the concussion front. It looks like he's been cleared for full practice and everything. But he went further, didn't he?
He did.
He really went emphatic with this.
He did. And I'm glad he did, man. He said something to the fact, we're not just going to blow in the wind. I thought that was good. In the sense of, look, we know who our guy is. He knows who he is and what he means to us, too. So because of that, if he's healthy, we're rolling with him. That's so huge, okay? That in itself also, you start laying that foundation of who's the guy moving forward. You also start, in my opinion, when it comes down to Kenny Pickett, getting his mindset into, look, man, this is your job. This is your franchise. If you're injured, that's okay. All right? Get healthy. But when you get back healthy, you walk in and you take your car and you drive wherever you want to. We follow your lead. I love that about it because you don't want the splitting of locker rooms, okay? You don't want he throws the ball a little better conversation. Don't matter how he throw the ball to you. Kenny's your quarterback, man. That right there, that may be hard for some coaches to do, or not. Probably half the coaches. So I'm not just trying to make it like Mike T's in rare air when it comes down to decision making like that. When your franchise guy is the guy, it's easy to kind of let that be known. I think some people look at it and say, well, Kenny's kind of young and Mitch, pretty much helped save the game. Well, that's Mitch's job too, as the backup quarterback, is to be able to pull you out of some games. So I'm okay with that kind of conversation being told not to just the locker room, but to the media too.
You're a little surprised, maybe a little bit, that he did that. He could have milked this all week long.
We gotta be. You know what? Because he's never had to make a call like this, right? Like, and you said it opening up. I knew who my guy was going to be, no matter if he was injured. When Ben got injured for the year, guess what? Like, all right, we'll play it then. And I guess it's one of those conversations that we had when it was, okay, well, is it Duck? Is it Mason? Is it Duck? Is it Mason? And you play that back and forth game. And guess what? Guys lend themselves one way or another because you don't even know. I thought it was good for him to actually say it. And this is also Coach Tomlin's first time going through this. We can't continue to say this, but it's almost feel like the pandemic in a sense, not health-wise, but in the sense is like, this is a moving adjustment when it comes down to being with a rookie quarterback in Pittsburgh in modern times, like since 2004. So we got to adjust with what he says. And I thought being definitive like that was more than enough for everybody to just, there's no back and forth with any of this. Yeah, where are you at with it? You seem like a contrarian here.
That's not a contrarian thing at all. I definitely don't have a problem with it. I'm legitimately expressing surprise, and I guess part of the reason for that is what we've been talking about here, which is that you've never had to ask him on any kind of regular basis who your quarterback is. And put yourself in our shoes, too. We're asking questions that are like, they're a totally different realm, and I guess there's a part of me that took a couple of different things. One, he entered the season with Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
2, offensive captain. Still still.
Yeah.
Okay. And 3, what we just saw on Sunday was the last thing that we saw at the position. So I didn't see it as being some impossible thing that he could come
Yeah.
back with Mitch, nor for that matter. I mean, I wouldn't have liked it,
Yeah.
but I also wouldn't have, freaked out over it either.
Well, that's the thing too. Mitch has been in this league longer. You'd almost be upset if Mitch went into that locker room as signed before Kenny Pickett got drafted and didn't grab the locker room, didn't go through something traumatic this offseason with this team, right? I mean, let's not forget that situation with Dwayne Haskins, right? And then you go through camp with him, and he's trying to reemerge in his career too. He was taking on leadership roles himself. Like, guys were, attracted to him as far as the play that he had. We heard he had a good camp. It was solid at times, right? So most of the time, the quarterback naturally falls into that situation of being a leader / captain type. I ain't gonna say that's automatic, but more times than not, guess what? It is automatic, and I don't think Kenny has an issue with that too, because when it comes down to the coin flip and stuff like that, Kenny gets extra time to himself to just be off to the side and just play his role until it's time to go on as a starting quarterback.
Well, I'm going to throw this into the mix too, at least as a possibility. I feel, though, when you look at the health situation for Kenny Pickett, the fact that they're playing Miami, that you were going to have all kinds of questions all week long about Kenny's readiness and his health and everything else. I have a feeling that part of this, you see what I'm saying here, was the head coach wanting to make a firm and uncommonly firm statement on Tuesday, right off the bat, before the first day of practice, by saying, hey, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah. We'll follow the protocol and everything else. And he's fine.
Yeah. 100%. I get it.
And he'll be doing that. The Dolphins will be doing that.
Coach Tomlin's a guy like that. They've gotten out front and kind of said Tua's practicing and everything. So this is a part of it. The concussion protocol, I think, for almost everybody has changed beyond, and for the good too. You had to make an amendments throughout the middle of the season to the concussion protocol. So I think he'll pass it. It didn't seem like a vicious hit. It was just right touch, banged his head, and then motor skills got to be right. No headaches, no light sensitivity. He does all that. We know he's good to go this week.
When we come back, we're going to talk about Mitch Trubisky versus Diontae Johnson. Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show. As I mentioned before the break here, we're going to talk about the Mitch Trubisky versus Diontae Johnson incident that Tomlin, in his own inimitable way, confirmed happened. This was originally reported by Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And when the head coach sits there and doesn't deny it at all, with a really long answer in which he got indignant with a question on the subject, in that case, just don't address it. But he wanted to. And he kept saying stuff about it. And then he kept talking about it. So you don't have to wonder whether or not it happened. Moan, for a wide receiver to get into it with his quarterback is hardly rare territory, is it?
That happens because both guys are usually competitive types. Again, I tell you all the time, that's the one position on the field offensively, because tight ends usually aren't those types of dudes. I don't even think Kelsey, Kittle, Waller, Gronk, nobody, they weren't those type of dudes. But the livelihood of wide receivers is based off one person's shoulder, arm, elbow, hand. That's the quarterback. So they get into it. Hey, I need the ball. I need, for him to confirm for that to be a thing, I don't know what could have been said for you to demote a guy, for you to confirm that it happened, for it to be a thing in a game.
You don't believe that, do you?
I don't know. I do. I don't know what it could have been. I just don't.
But he he wanted a spark for the offense. I can't connect those. You're suggesting that the fight might have been what made him look at Kenny and say, "You're in." It sounds to me like he had Mitch's back.
He
certainly did yesterday.
Yeah, he did. I know what you're saying, but I'm just trying to figure out why the change. Like, why would an argument make that change, though? Like, I get what you're saying as far as a spark.
I don't think it did.
So I love to know what you think it was, in a sense, though, DK, because I'm like, it had to have been something very disrespectful or just too hot-headed of a position in which Mitch was in to actually put him back out there towards another player.
Yeah, to me, I have a feeling that the head coach walked off that field thinking, I need something different here. This crowd's turning on the regular guy. I need a spark here, like he kept saying. And I believe that he knows that Kenny Pickett is the better quarterback.
And you're saying the cop-out was whatever argument he had with Diontae?
No, I don't know that they had anything to do with each other. Again, all we can do is speculate on this.
I got to do some digging, DK.
Oh, no, you can do more than speculate.
Yeah, I got to do some digging because that's this out of character, okay, for somebody to kind of confirm. A rumor get confirmed by a coach in order for it to get to us. And then you say, well, that was the reason he wasn't acting captain-like. Like, what the hell was it? Because I've seen some non-good teammate things happen, and it never warranted this. Again, if that's the excuse to go to Mitch, go to Kenny, fine, okay. But I still got to know what the heck it was.
Yeah,
DK, and I say all this because I've seen fights. I've seen it get personal. I've seen it, coaches have to step in. I've seen in-game stuff happen, in locker room stuff. I've seen all of that. Heck, you're speaking about Mollett just going off on the team recently. All of those things. And for the life of me, I just can't grab like a quarterback acting out of character with a wide receiver, and you chose the wide receiver over the quarterback?
I don't know that he did. Why do they have to be connected? If he made up his mind that he's going to go with Kenny in the second half, and then this thing just happens to occur in the locker room between Trubisky and Johnson, you're going to deal with the one thing regardless.
Yep.
Now, he still has to tell Kenny that he's the quarterback, and he still has to make that known to Mitch.
Yeah.
So I don't know that the two things have to be connected. And here's part of why I say that.
I'm listening.
If I call up this, let me call up the actual account of what Tomlin had to say here, because he really seemed to come to Mitch's defense in this by saying that I'm looking at it here. He says, everyone wants to win. If it transpired, it's good. It probably means there's a couple of guys that wanted to win. If it didn't transpire, it probably means that it should have, because we are aggressively pursuing victory, and sometimes that's emotion. That's not him pointing a finger at either Mitch or Diontae. Or is it? You tell me. You're the one that was around him for 11 years.
Well, I'll say this. One person sat and the other one didn't. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
I know you don't want to believe it correlates to
It's the Ramon Foster show.
No. One sat and you chose another, and from that point on, we've had Kenny Pickett as QB1. Okay? And that's the only issue that I have. Is like, well, was it that bad? If he wasn't a captain, if you didn't sign him as a quarterback, would he have been cut? Can't cut Diontae.
No, you can't. Wow. Okay. You surprise me sometimes. As long as I've known you surprise me.
I'm going to find out.
And then that's the ultimate answer. When we come back, the only segment that matters.
It's Ramon.
Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show, and the only segment that matters. It's brought to you by the Get Go Cafe and Market, where quality is at the core of every menu item. 3 expert chefs fine-tune every detail, from how classic and unexpected flavors complement each other to the order that each fresh ingredient is added. Order these amazing entries at the Get Go Cafe and Market today. Better, believe it. Today's entry comes from Ken, who asks, "Hey, Moan, Jaylen Warren had only 2 rushing attempts Sunday." And I'll interject, Jaylen Warren, your dude. And he admittedly went nowhere, but I believe he's been as good or better than Najee has so far this season. Why won't Tomlin/Canada let him tote the rock more often? Are they trying to prevent a running back controversy?
Because Najee's Najee. Okay.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really it, isn't it?
It is, man, because Najee's Najee. Like, he go first round for a reason, okay? Like, again, finding a Robin is so friggin' cool. It's necessary in football. Not just at, running back, but at quarterback, okay? At also tight end, okay? Looking at what your Connor Hayward is doing right now with Pat, okay? Look at all of those situations. Like, you need good Robins in this thing too, and it's okay to have a Robin also. But as much as we champion, Bernard, what is it, Pollard and Dallas, Zeke is still the dude, okay? Like, Zeke is the reason you come to the stadium. And again, I'll tell you this, Najee is the reason you come to the stadium too. Like, that's just the role. I hate to say, but the what do I want to call it? The social economic side of football. I'm sorry to say, unless like Najee goes and, like hurt a finger for the year, it's never going to be the Jaylen Warren show. It just ain't.
It's not, and it certainly wasn't going to be that in this setting. When you have an airtight game, which let's not forget that was, when you have teams that are, the Steelers were leading by 1 point and, then by a couple of points to win the game. You have to be able to run with your horse. Yeah. And what happened in that game in the second half, I don't know what got into Najee. I don't know what got into the offensive line. But they do.
Yeah.
And they made it happen, as we've been discussing on the show all week, including the big boys up front. Say what you want about their overall performance and Kevin Dotson giving up the sack that got Kenny hurt and everything else here. But they ran the ball. Yeah. And Najee, when he needed to, ripped off that 17-yarder. So I'm not really inclined to be criticizing usage here.
Me either. And this is the other portion of it too, man. Najee attracts flies. Okay?
What?
Not like Najee is the guy that when you see him, you gotta go get him. Jaylen going in is still like, well, you still gotta prove it to us. Even and then look at the runs he's had. He's had these gimmicks like runs, and I like them, and they're good for him. They're designed for him. He'll go in between the tackle every once in a while. But Najee was drafted to be your workhorse. Najee, was he a Heisman winner too?
No.
No, wasn't a Heisman, national champion, whatever it is. Alabama, we beat him. You tell him when I see him, I say, go Vols, okay? Either way.
I see what you're doing here.
Yeah, but
I see it.
But with that being said, Najee's just that dude. When he's in the backfield, everybody's antennas are up, whether he's getting 1 yard or whether he's running for 60 yards, okay? Like, there's a level of respect for it. Like, there's a D lineman that's probably just as good as Aaron Donald in his league, but guess who you're going to go look at first? I'm going to look at Aaron Donald. My antennas are good. We always have these conversations. Moan, who's probably the best D lineman you ever gone against? And it's usually some backup type of guy that, doesn't really have the game, but they fight, they claw, they never get plays off, and they also fresh when they come in the game too.
Yeah, that's the part I was just about to throw that in. That's not fair. You're like, I've been out here for 60 snaps, and you come out here, and your shirt's all clean, and what's this all about?
So I'm not downplaying Jaylen Warren's role, but Najee's getting about 40 reps a game. He's getting about 15. There is a difference in that, okay? So that's why you go with Najee. And again, it doesn't lend itself the socioeconomic side of, hey, I paid this guy, he's the first rounder, you're an undrafted guy, you fumbled a couple times in the game. Najee went a whole year without fumbles, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just how it rolls, y'all.
All I know is that 17-yarder is the only answer that we needed to give Ken today. Yeah. Because if you look at the nature of that, it was kind of blocked okay. Chooks and those guys had to they had to go to the inside, push the pack. They did a little bit, but still in all, by the time Najee got outside behind Chooks, there were how many bodies waiting for him? Didn't matter. Didn't matter. He made up his mind. He was going to get some big yardage there and help win the game, and he did. And I'm sorry, Jaylen Warren's not doing that.
It's okay to be Robin too, okay? You make a lot of money being Robin. You get a whole lot of note. Hey, Isaac Redmond was a real good Robin, okay?
That's a pretty good example right there. I like that one.
Serious, yeah.
He probably would too.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to my guy Isaac. But you become Batman if you're Willie Parker and you got an older guy, Jerome Bettis, in front of you, okay? That's how you become Batman.
Okay, yeah. Break one for 75 yards in a Super Bowl. Behind a really big block from a Hall of Fame guard. Always have to throw that in.
Danica, they call him Red.
If that wasn't the best block in Steelers history, I don't know what is.
Yes, sir.
Every time you watch it, it's so perfect. He didn't just get to the guy, Moan. He cleared him. He cleared him out.
Yeah, he did.
He could have made a path. He made a 4-lane highway.
You know? And then what happens after that? You get a nickname like Fast Willie Parker.
Fast Willie. Willie's not very fast if he's running right into that dude, though, is he?
That's true. No, absolutely, man. A great question, though.
Yeah, I like that. That's good stuff. Let's do another one tomorrow, Moan.
I'm with it. I'll be here. You be here.